احنا 25 اذار نعتبره خط احمر، نحن ما حدا يلعب معه.
Good afternoon and thank you for joining us on FutureTV. I'm Linda Tamim and these are today's top stories. A moving tribute is held this morning in honor of 16-year-old Muhammad al-Shahad, one of the victims of a blast targeting former MP Muhammad Shattah. President Michel Sleiman says he hopes the new year will witness the formation of a new government after Saudi Arabia pledged $3 billion for the Lebanese army. And at least 14 people are killed and 20 wounded in a suicide bomb attack on a packed trolley bus in Russia's Volgograd city. A moving tribute has been held this morning in honor of Muhammad al-Shahad, the 16-year-old who's been killed in the attack targeting former MP Muhammad Shattah. Classmates, teachers, and the principal of Rafiq Hariri School delivered moving speeches about Shahad and expressed their condolences to his family. Shahad had been identified online as one of the 4 youths seen posing in a group selfie posted on social media networks in front of the car that exploded moments later. He succumbed to his injuries at the American hospital in Beirut a day after the blast. Lebanese President Michel Sleiman says Saudi Arabia has pledged $3 billion for the Lebanese army, calling it the largest grant ever given to the country's armed forces. The pledge comes just as Lebanon held a funeral for Muhammad Shattah, the former finance minister, amid rising tensions over who might have killed him. Sleiman says the funds will allow Lebanon's military to purchase French weapons. French President François Hollande, currently on a visit to Saudi Arabia where he met King Abdullah, says France is ready to supply weapons to the Lebanese army if asked to do so. The Lebanese army is seen as one of the few institutions not overtaken by sectarian divisions plaguing the country, but it is ill-equipped to deal with internal threats. President Michel Sleiman says he hopes the new year will witness the formation of a new government. He says Lebanon should take advantage of the current international support in order to form a new cabinet, and hopes the cabinet will be formed in early of 2014. Earlier, the president had held contacts to follow up on the latest developments regarding Sunday's rocket attacks from southern Lebanon against Israel and the Jewish state's consequent retaliation. Sleiman, who held talks at Baghdad Palace with Army Commander General Jean Ahwaji, stressed the importance of implementing UN Security Council Resolution 1701. He also followed up on Sunday's assault against Grand Mufti Sheikh Mohammed Rashid Kabani, condemning the incident. The Lebanese army opened anti-aircraft fire at Syrian warplanes that hovered the eastern border town of Arsel. The national news agency says the Syrian warplanes prompted the Lebanese army to respond after it raided Khirbet Daoud, which lies in the eastern mountain range in an area adjacent to the barren mountains of the town of Arsel. Reports say Syrian warplanes hit the area with 3 rockets, killing 6 people and injuring 20 others after security forces thwarted an attempt to infiltrate from Al-Qa'a in Arsel into the Syrian border town of Jussiye. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon urges all parties to exercise maximum restraint after rockets fired from southern Lebanon struck northern Israel, sparking an Israeli reprisal shelling. The UN chief has also urged all actors to prevent further incidents with destabilizing and escalatory potential in the region. UNIFIL Commander Major General Paulo Serra says he has been assured by the parties of their full cooperation with the peacekeeping mission and of their continued commitment to the cessation of hostilities. Hackers have briefly hijacked the Twitter account of Future Movement Secretary General Ahmed Hariri and sent out a message warning of attacks against Lebanon Sunnis. The tweet was accompanied by an image of the late presidents of Iraq, Saddam Hussein, Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat, and Egypt Jamal Abdel Nasser, as well as former Prime Minister Rafiq al-Hariri. A technical team at the Future Movement's press office worked immediately to restore the account. The Syrian government has evacuated about 5,000 people from an embattled industrial town near the capital of Damascus, where rebels linked to al-Qaeda have been battling government troops for more than 2 weeks. The evacuation comes as the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said that more than 500 people, including 151 children, have been killed during weeks of government airstrikes on opposition-held areas of the northern city of Aleppo and its suburbs. And coming up next, hundreds line up in New York's Times Square to destroy their bad memories from 2013. Welcome back. French President François Hollande and Saudi King Abdullah have held talks on escalating tensions in the Middle East, with a focus on Lebanon and Syria, during a visit also aimed at boosting commercial ties. The monarch highlighted a convergence of positions between the two countries on several issues. During the meeting, Abdullah expressed his concern, even anxiety, about regional crisis and praised France's courageous position on these key dossiers. Lebanon was at the top of the agenda amid heightening tensions in Beirut after the assassination of Prime Minister Saad Hariri's close aide, ex-minister Mohammed Shattah. The two leaders, meeting at the king's luxurious Rawdat Khuraim farm, both expressed concern over Iranian interference in Lebanon and the region. Hollande later met with former Prime Minister Saad Hariri. And still in the Middle East, the families of Israeli victims of Palestinian attacks appeal against the imminent release of long-serving Palestinian prisoners as part of U.S.-brokered peace talks. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has agreed to the phased release of 104 Palestinian prisoners in line with commitments to the U.S.-backed talks, which resumed in July, and previous batches were freed in August and October. The 26 prisoners, expected to be released late on tonight, were jailed before the signing of the 1993 Oslo Accords, which formally launched the Middle East peace process, and have served 19 to 28 years of killing Israeli civilians or soldiers. Palestinians hail the prisoners as heroes imprisoned for fighting against Israeli corruption. Egypt's security forces have arrested 4 Al Jazeera journalists in Egypt's capital of Cairo. Correspondent Peter Greste, producers Mohammed Fahmy and Bahir Mohammed, as well as cameraman Mohammed Fawzi, are being held in custody after they were arrested by security forces on Sunday evening. Greste is a veteran journalist who previously worked for Reuters, CNN, and the BBC over the past 2 decades. Human rights groups say conditions for journalists in Egypt have become difficult since former Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi was removed in a coup on July the 3rd of this year. The latest arrest comes after a series of clashes between police and Muslim Brotherhood supporters across Egypt. The Committee to Protect Journalists says that Egypt, Syria, and Iraq have become among the deadliest countries for journalists to work in. Closed-door talks have resumed between Iran and world powers on implementing a landmark deal to rein in Tehran's controversial nuclear program in exchange for easing sanctions. European Union Foreign Policy spokesman Michael Mann says the Geneva meeting began at 8:30 local time this morning, but that no further details will be available immediately. Technical experts from Iran and the EU-chaired P5+1 group, comprising the United States, China, Russia, Britain, France, and Germany, also held a session 2 weeks ago in Geneva amid efforts to fine-tune a deal reached by their foreign ministers in the Swiss city on November 24th. Iran's official news agency IRNA says the latest talks were set to last for 1 day before a break for New Year. Moving on to Iraq, deadly clashes broke out in the Ramadi area in mosques called for jihad as security forces sought to dismantle the country's main anti-government protest site. The violence, which follows a raid on an MP's home in Ramadi city, west of Baghdad, in which he was arrested and his brother killed, threatens to escalate already widespread tensions in the country. Security forces were deployed near their site, and helicopters could be seen firing into the area. 2 security forces vehicles were burned and gunmen have seized a third. The violence in Ramadi comes after Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki said the protest site had become a headquarters for al-Qaeda and called on legitimate demonstrators to leave. At least 14 people have been killed and 20 wounded in a suicide bomb attack on a packed trolley bus in Russia's Volgograd city. Volgograd was on high alert following the latest attack that came a day after a suicide bombing at a train station in the city killed 17 people. Security services says the blasts are likely to be terror attacks, judging from the 2 previous attacks on a bus and train station. The National Anti-Terrorism Committee says the trolley bus explosion was most likely caused by a bomb, but there were no further details. Security forces in the Democratic Republic of Congo have killed gunmen who opened fire on sites across the capital of Kinshasa. Armed men attacked Kinshasa Airport and the state television station RTNC in what appeared to be an attempt to seize power by supporters of religious leader Paul Joseph Makungu Blila. Congolese troops killed 16 people and detained a further 20. Government spokesman Lambert Mende says the army has regained control of the city and that the situation is now calm. Reports say the motive behind the series of attacks remain unclear, but people are speculating that this was an attempted coup. Before transmission was shut down at RTNC, two gunmen appeared on camera to deliver what appeared to be a political message against President Joseph Kabila's government. And now for news around the world in brief. Former Formula One world champion Michael Schumacher is in critical condition after undergoing double brain surgery following a skiing accident in the French Alps. Officials say the seven-time world champion was flown to hospital in coma after he fell and hit his head on a rock on Sunday. Hospital officials say the trauma required an immediate neurosurgical operation and he remains in a critical condition. Dubai is preparing to break the Guinness World Record of fireworks by lighting no less than 400,000 fireworks shells on New Year's night celebrations. The Emirate is inviting dozens of the world's celebrities to attend the event. And hundreds of people gather at the iconic Copacabana beach in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, to pay tribute to Iemanjá, the goddess of the sea. Every year, worshippers dressed in white gather here to pay tribute to Iemanjá by singing hymns and bringing flowers, letters, and beauty products. The offerings are put on little makeshift boats and sent out to the sea, with the faith they will find their way to the goddess. Around 100 people lined up in New York's Times Square to destroy their bad memories from 2013 by shredding photos of cheating ex-boyfriends, old diaries, and even a heartbreaking diagnosis. A few even smashed objects with a mallet. Take a look.
Round of applause.
3 days before millions gather in Times Square to ring in the new year, they got a chance to shred the bad memories at an event called Good Riddance Day.
I wrote goodbye to my 14-year-old son's moody attitude.
I shredded a letter from my mother-in-law, and we had a very bad year with her, and we want to put it to an end and start fresh.
2013 is the 7th year that people have been kissing their bad memories goodbye.
I've been single and I found her and she's amazing, and I'm looking forward to us living together and starting a life together.
We've been together for 2 years, and so we came to New York for New Year's Eve, and so it's a great time to take that next step.
Here she goes.
This woman wasn't shredding, she was smashing her old computers and cell phones to get rid of clutter and get past her fear of technology.
It was almost like a fervor going through my apartment, collecting as much as I could in a short period of time. So, you know, there's a real feeling of like liberation and freedom.
He's adorable.
The event's grand prize winner was the Johnson family. 3-year-old Bodie was diagnosed with cancer last year, but it's now in remission.
That was quite the experience, being able to watch him shred all the bills and the CAT scan picture. And, you know, this is probably the coolest way to be able to say goodbye to the bad memories.
In a few days, everyone can give a high five to start 2014. For now, 2013 is almost history.
This marks the end of our bulletin for today. Now for a reminder of our top stories. A moving tribute is held this morning in honor of 16-year-old Hamad Shahad, one of the victims of the blast targeting former MP Hamad Shattah. President Michel Sleiman says he hopes the new year will witness the formation of a new government after Saudi Arabia pledged $3 billion for the Lebanese army. And finally, at least 14 people are killed and 20 wounded in a suicide bomb attack on a packed trolley bus in Russia's Volgograd city. Those are your Monday headlines from us here at Future Television. I'm Linda Tamim, wishing you all a peace week ahead and, of course, a nice New Year's Eve celebration.
نحن بحاجة إلى حكومة مسؤولة وفاعلة.
في عندنا 25 أذار بعتبره خط أحمر، نحن ما حدا يلعب معه.